Hey everybody, Tristan Adams with Modern Design Aquascaping, and we are here in Knoxville, Tennessee today, starting a renovation on this pond that you can see in front of me here. So the pond doesn't even have any fish in it, and in my experience, if you're not going to have fish and wildlife in your pond, you should probably go with something that's a little less maintenance, such as a fountain, and that's what we're going to be turning this thing into. So we're going to get this thing all torn out today. We've got to rip everything out of the pond, water lilies, all the rocks, bring the whole retaining walls down on the backside. I mean, look at this thing. It's pretty ridiculous, so. Yeah, we're going to tear that out. That'll be rebuilt at the end as the backdrop for a triple basalt column fountain with uplights on each one of those. So not only are we going to have the uplights on the basalt pieces themselves, we're going to have some along that back wall casting firelight up into this Japanese maple, and that will give us some really good, depth coming from the windows that are right behind you guys in the video. So we're going to be tearing out just the whole retaining wall, but we're not actually tearing out the stream. What we're going to do is we're going to puncture some holes in that liner up there, make sure it's able to drain, fill everything with gravel so we don't have any sediment traps or water pools trapped up there. And we're just going to get that spot cleaned out, and it's really just going to stay kind of how it is as a backdrop. But we're just going to have our basalt columns down here. So another cool thing about this is they said they have a bullfrog that's been in here since it was put in. So we are actually going to find a way to make a home for this bullfrog when we're done, even though we won't have a pond. So my idea for this is we're going to take an extra piece of liner, a little scrap, and we're going to snuggle it in right around those basalt columns to where it can catch splash off of those and have just a tiny little pool with a couple cute little aquatic plants in there to provide a home for our bullfrog when we get out of here. So should be a couple-day project. That's about all we got for right now. We're going to start getting this thing torn out, and we'll catch you guys later. Alright, so we've got some wildlife in here. Holy crap. We have a koi fish. I thought we had no fish. Huh, would you look at that? A little muddy. Alright, so we just got this thing drained out, thought we found a frog, and check this out. We found a koi fish in the bottom of the pond. So now that we got the pond drained, we should really hurry and see if there's any more in here. Bullfrogs. Ah, it's a potted lily. Lily's out. Well, found the frog. We got one of them. This is our little guy who's hiding in this cave. Take a look in the bottom of this hole. It's way deeper than it looked. Looked like this was the bottom. There was actually just flat rocks built up on a base. That's where we actually found a koi fish hiding in there, along with this cute little guy. Alright, so this is the end of day one. You can see we've got a lot of stuff done in here. We've got a giant pile of stone up behind me with we found a lot in here, including a fish. Oddly enough, pretty weird. Couldn't see the fish. They didn't know they had the fish in here for a long time, but lo and behold, we start pulling up stones, find this giant cavern, which is the deep section of this pond right here. And in this giant cavern, encapsulated in flagstone, we find the one solo fish. So he's in the tub behind you guys. Needless to say, we've got some cool stuff happening in this reservoir right here, because once we pulled all this out, we really want to just keep as much water storage as we can. Is that a wasp? No. Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Is it creeping you out?
Yes.
You want to get it off your hand?
God.
So what we have in this deep section is some cool stuff going on. When we pulled all the rock and all the media out, we really don't want to lose any water storage, because that would be pointless. What are we going to do? Just like throw some dirt and some stuff back in there, tamp it all in, and then have less water? I think not. We want to get as much as we can get in here. And when we get done, we should have around about 250 to 300 gallons total, 210 total dispersed between 8 AquaBlocks, 4 large and 4 small. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Down here, we've got our vault where our pump's going to live. We're going to have to put an extension on here. It should bring it up right close to patio level, right on there. And then we're going to have large blocks going through this deeper section. The large blocks are going to meet up perfectly with the small blocks that are going to be on this upper shelf, 4 small blocks. And they're going to have nice level tops, all cinched in by gravel and stuff on the sides, which brings us back to up here. So we're going to have to rebuild this massive retaining wall when we get done with all the rocks that are up there. And we don't really want to stack 4 vertical feet of mountain stone on top of these blocks. So we've got some good space in this area to actually build on just gravel and dirt, so that we don't have to worry about any of the AquaBlocks having any problems in the future when we get out of here. So that's where we're going to kick it off tomorrow, to get our material in here. We're going to get our we're going to get our underlayment in there. We're going to get our liner in there, get our blocks, get our gravel, and we're going to start rolling on this thing. For now, I'm out. Later. Alright, hey guys, Tristan Adams, Modern Design Aquascaping. We are back at it. This is the beginning of day 2 of this project. Super excited because we got a ton done yesterday. So we're going to have 250 to 300 gallons of water storage by the time we are done here today, because we are knocking this out today, getting done, getting out of here, getting water rolling. So that's what we've got for right now. We're going to get our stuff cut, dry fit our blocks, and we are off to the races. Later, guys. Making toys. So we've got our reservoir, and you can see, you can't really tell the difference in size of blocks because the tops are perfectly level. Both of them are about 5-6 inches below the surface of the patio, which is actually going to allow us to bring our 3x5s in and cover this up, bringing it right up to patio level so that you can't even tell there's a giant hole here. But, like I was talking about, we had plenty of room. There is no AquaBlock under all this gravel right here or under this wall. So really it's just a base of gravel on compacted ground to make sure that this can't settle later. So, got caught up, just busy working, and, you know, completed a bunch of the wall before I could take the video, but you can see what's going on, and then right, so what we got here, the T1000. You hook this thing up to a massive pump with some juice, and you can blast enemies at 3 different elevations. So you either run or take massive damage. No, really, this is my T for plumbing. It's a manifold is what this is called. And you can actually, you got 2-inch feeding down to the pump, comes up and splits off into 3 different 1-inch lines, which is what each one of these are. Each one of those is going to be going to one of our 3 basalt columns. So really, it's just to split up the water where we want it to go. We finished our wall behind us, and that's the next step that we're on. So rocking and rolling day 2, reaching the end, sun's going down. Let's get it done. All right, so we didn't finish on day 2. This is the beginning of day 3. You can see I've got my basalt columns right next to me. I'm going to start off this morning by getting these guys stood up and positioned right and getting the concrete pad poured underneath of them so that they are nice and stable. Get my plumbing running into the sides and see what happens when I fire them up. So I don't have any ball valves on them yet because I'm hoping the water just works out perfectly somehow. We'll see how that goes. But that's just about all I got left to get these things up and running, and then I just got to get my 3x5s in here to cover everything up and then get it all nice and cleaned out. So that's about all we got for now outside of the lighting system, which I will tune in at the very end of this. But that's the next step, is to get these guys concreted in and ready for water. Let's go! Now, I've filled in the very bottom holes with concrete so that when that sets up, the water doesn't go straight out and down the AquaBlocks. And I've got my plumbing run out, at least just to get out of the concrete. So now I'm going to do my concrete pad underneath of these things to make sure they're stable, with my little pigtails of 1-inch plumbing still sticking out of the concrete so I can tie on whatever I need to with my manifold to get these things up and running. Shouldn't be long now. So I got these things all plumbed up. You can see the manifold in the front, and I just did the initial plug-in of these things. And given some water did come out the top, my concrete seals that were around the edges of the pipe where it was so thin, I guess it wasn't enough to hold it, because I've given this more than a couple hours to settle, which is, I gave it double the recommended time. So it's already set, I know that, but it's on to plan number 2. Bring it. So we're plumbed up and we are finally ready for our test drive. I got the pump, everything is good. There's no ball valves in yet. I'm about to fire these things up. See if I need to put some ball valves in somewhere. So here goes nothing. Alright, so it's not bad. Really like to see more water coming out of that tall one though. Looks like this guy and that guy are getting majority of our water flow. And I'd really like the one in the back to have a lot more than it's got going on, so looks like I'm going to put in some ball valves. Be back. So what I've got going on right here is this is a spot that I've dug out so that I can actually put in a little liner pocket. And what the liner pocket is going to allow me to do is I'm going to make sure its edges are up just a little bit high, just enough to hold in 2 inches of water, so that I can actually plant a little aquatic plant in here. Get some splash off the fountain. This is going to be my aquatic plant pocket. This is something I really love to do in fountain scenarios, because besides that, you can't really add greenery into the rocky area unless you've got an aquatic and something like this. So something that also happens, if you don't create this little bladder where it holds water, even when it's off, when the fountain shuts off and the water drains down, your aquatic plants that are in here, they die. They need the water to survive. So this little pocket is going to allow me to do just that. So now that I got my ball valves in, you can see I've got a lot more water that's actually going to the top basalt column. We've got just a little bit, not a little bit, there's still a good bit going to the 2 smaller basalt columns. But then I've created these tiny little pools everywhere with my little blankets of liner. and rock those guys in so you have just a tiny bit of standing water. I'm hoping that Jim Croaky, the frog, is going to want to live in one of these things, but I don't know if he will because there's not really going to be a whole lot of food to eat in those little pools. But it is cool to have the little pools because that allows us to have these zephyr lilies, which are aquatic plants. And like I said earlier, you know, if you want some aquatic plants but you just have a bed of rock, all you have to do is make one of those little tiny blankets of liner, one of those little tiny liner blankets. Hopefully Jim Croaky likes it enough to stay, but I think we've knocked it out of the park, so. Time to keep going, finish, get wrapped up. He's going back to his home.
Well, you just gonna put him there.
Oh! Good.
I don't think he'll.
So this thing was a total success. These basalts are some of the favorite basalts I've ever put in, and they seem a little different. I think it's because it's got a 2-inch core drill bit in the top that reduces down to 1. So as the water comes up, it slows down the flow, allowing these nice waterfall sheets coming off the side. So instead of just bubbling over, you actually have pictures and pores, different angles coming off. Oh man. Okay, so turn this off. So here we are. This is completed project at nighttime. So we've got our zephyr lilies, bam, 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 in the front. We've got our lights going around. We've got the uplights on the walls. We've got everything dancing into the Japanese maple above us. This is a perfect outcome. This is exactly what we wanted. All right, hey guys, here we are. We are finished up this one. So we've got our little natural pools in there for Jim Croaky to hang out. That's our frog buddy that we got out of the pond. So fish has been safely relocated. The mystery fish we found in the bottom of the pond. But all in all, this has been an amazing project. So we went from a stagnant pond, mosquito haven, whatever you want to call it, it's what we had going on in the beginning of this thing, to these beautiful basalt columns with uplights to bring this tree alive at night and really to liven up this area. So it's been a hard-fought battle, some good days, some good rain, lots of hours. I think we worked like 126 hours in 2 days, something like that. So it's been a good journey, but besides that, this thing just turned out awesome. I love these basalt columns. I love these. They're my favorite aquatic plants right here, and just having the lights in here to liven this spot up at nighttime, visible from all the windows. They've actually said that they're coming out here every morning and they're staring at this thing. They're looking at it every night, watching the lights, because it was such a transformation from going from the pond that wasn't even running to something like this. So that's pretty much all I got to say. I ain't got a bunch of explaining to do. It's been really fun out here. We've had a great time, me and Nick. We knocked this thing out 3 days. 3 days done and gone. So yeah, if you like what you've seen, like and subscribe to our page. Follow us on YouTube on a regular basis for construction projects. We do daily videos on our Facebook Live page, so follow us there. And if you have any questions about anything, comment down there somewhere in the comments below, and we'll be happy to get back with you. So thanks to you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next awesome project. We're out of here.